So Project 1512 started just about 5 years ago, and our mission is to love others when life happens.
Well, my name is Colin McCurney. This is my wife, Jessica McCurney. And in March of 2019, our son Hudson was diagnosed with leukemia. And we got in touch with Project 1512 through a friend of ours who is also battling cancer. And she got in contact with him initially and told him our situation and some of the help that we might need along the way. And ever since then, we've been in contact with the 1512 team, and they've really made a huge impact on our lives and made this journey a little bit easier for us, I'd say.
A year ago, almost exactly a year ago, Hannah attempted suicide. If I were to describe Project 1512 to someone, I would say life-changing, the love, the support during your darkest times, during your hardest times. It's unbelievable. It makes me feel like at some point in my life, I would like to be involved because it is so pure, and it is just love. It's giving love to people in need. It really is love and assistance.
Last year, my wife Lindsay and I experienced a miscarriage, and we lost our child, our daughter, Ada Marie. As we were mourning the loss, we were excited to see trucks full of men rolling up and helping us set up our Christmas decorations for the year. It offered us a little bit of Christmas cheer in a time of deep mourning, and just the thoughtfulness and care of which this community operates is overwhelming at times.
I was referred to Project 1512 by Pauline from Family Resources. She has been my counselor for a little over a year due to my situation with domestic violence. I had no other resources at the time to help out. I had already reached out to several organizations and had been turned down. So it was a very scary time in my life, and I really didn't know what to do. And I'm just so thankful that Project 1512 stepped in the huge amount of a way that they did.
So my daughter Emerson was diagnosed with B-cell ALL leukemia back in September of 2019, so right before this lovely year. And I have a colleague that I work with. She's a close friend of mine who she had kind of kept badgering me that I needed to lean on people for help. And I don't know, as a single mom, I've always our little trio, it's myself and Emerson and her little brother Phoenix, and we've just always weathered the storm on our own. And in a way, it wasn't just the money itself, it was the fact that it was allowing me to take some kind of control. So I had that gift card, and I could still provide for my kids. I could still go and get what I needed. Sorry. So swallow your pride. It'll be worth it.
When we were pregnant with our third child, I had preeclampsia and post-eclampsia. And so I had to take an extended time of maternity leave off, which was unpaid. And so our bills and our budget kind of suffered. And so she let us know to apply for Project 1512 for some assistance to help with our daycare cost. And so it was nice to have a program that would help families pretty much no matter what. Like you would say, what's your slogan?
Living the American dream.
So definitely back on track and able to provide for our family.
We've been in existence for a couple years now, and from the beginning, Project 1512 has assisted the women that we serve. Now, oftentimes I always tell the team, and we've been talking, oftentimes when women are moving forward from abuse, they are blessed to get a job, but sometimes that job only is a few dollars above the poverty line or a couple $100 above the poverty line, so they may not qualify for things like food stamps and rental assistance and other things, even though they're in need of that financial assistance. And so you all are amazing. Please donate to Project 1512. You all are literally helping to save lives, change lives, and those financial resources, giving with love and compassion, are literally helping us to journey with women healing from violence and abuse in a really powerful way. So God bless you, thank you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Peace.
Since its inception, Project 1512 has provided over $200,000 of financial support to over 360 households. And over that same time, Project 1512 has provided non-financial support through prayer and other acts of love to countless others. It was Project 1512's conception of love that drew me in as a volunteer, donor, and board member. Project 1512 aims to love others, inspired by the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 12, which is to say, Project 1512's mission is to love others unconditionally.
In the application, there's a list of options that you can choose, from like gift cards to groceries to just cutting a check to the services or what your needs were. So I requested, you know what, I can get by with cutting down on groceries, cutting down on transportation. So I asked for a check for my landlord and also a check directly to Mid-American, and that's what they did. I mean, within a few days, everything was taken care of. Carly sent me a message saying, okay, this is the amount we're gonna pay, and it was for 2 months. 2 months of not expecting anything back in return. And I would not have known if I hadn't just shared my story with somebody and asked for help. So I suggest you do the same. I know it's hard, but swallow your pride, love yourself, and just ask so others can help you. This is the one resource out there that people who are above the poverty, barely above the poverty income line, to qualify for. This is your only hope.
My family has a pretty prevalent history of breast cancer. So in January of last year, I was tested for genetic mutations, and it did come back that I was BRCA positive. So then I was on like this preventative, hey, every like 3 to 4 months we'll do mammograms. I was like, okay, great, sounds good. February was the first one. It was totally clear. And so by July of 2020, so you're only thinking February to July, I found a lump. Chemo started in October and I did 6 months, and then went through my surgery in May, which was the bilateral. Yeah, so that came, the financial assistance came at perfect timing when I went into my double mastectomy surgery in May. So, the complicated thing with, any type of illness, mine being breast cancer, is you still have like all these outside stressors, but you're told to focus on your healing, your recovery, this is your priority, but your rent doesn't stop. Your, telephone bill still goes. And it's unfortunate that that's just how it is. So I, of course, was pretty stressed out going into that surgery, knowing that would put me off even more to go back to work. I feel like it's so far beyond me, and realistically, it's not at all. It was just 3-4 months ago, and it's still, I'm still in the healing timeline of my body and, preparing for even another surgery. So it really was life-saving. I mean, for, like I said, 4 months, I just was able to not worry.
Found out I was pregnant. I started going to weekly appointments to the OB, and overnight it changed from hypertension to you're in an ambulance going to Iowa City. At that point I was 29 weeks and 1 day, and so I was like, they said you can't come home until you deliver. So then I got put in the antepartum unit, which is basically like anti-give birth. They came to me on the 29th of May, and they were like, your numbers aren't going down, we have to get her out. Had a lot of issues. I was actually hemorrhaging. Wasn't the easiest, but she got out fine. They warned us that she might not cry, and she was crying, so that was awesome. And then we couldn't hold her for 7 days, so we got
she
had to be
premature.
flatline.
Correct.
For the first 7 days of her life. So like when we would change her diaper was the only time that we could really touch her.
I would definitely say 1512. The words I would use were peace of mind. You know, they bring you peace of mind. You're struggling with an unfortunate circumstance. They swoop right in. Excuse me, you guys swooped right in and really brightened the day for us when it was really at its darkest. So I think that's the best way I can describe it.
Well, because not only the monetary value that was given, but what that allowed us to do for our finances, and just get in a spot where for the first time we felt like we were finally ahead.
Yeah, we were ahead instead of
chasing our tail.
Exactly, we're way behind. So it was a blessing.
Well, my name's Anna Rorda, and I found out about Project 1512 through a former employer. I tutored her daughter in ACT English. So she found out I was going through a hard time with my family, and then she actually referred us to Project 1512. What was going on at the time was my husband had an emergency back surgery for a very rare condition called cauda equina syndrome, and it was completely out of the blue. He wasn't having really a lot of terrible back pain. It was just one day he couldn't ride his bike to work, and then the next day we were on our way to Iowa City and he was being rushed by ambulance, and he had to take off over 8 weeks of work, and we didn't have a lot of savings, so we used up all of our savings for the time he was off of work. And since I stayed home with our kids, it was just very stressful financially. God was really answering our prayers in a very tangible way, so I'm really thankful for everything that Project 1512 did for us. And to be very specific, they covered about 1/3 of our medical bills, so that was very significant to us and still is.
So earlier this year in February, our 8-year-old got sick, and she was in Iowa City, University of Iowa Hospital. She got diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, and she was there for 9 days. During that time, my husband was off of work, and he didn't have any vacation time or any time that he could pull from. And then he was off work for all of those 9 days, which was the beginning of the hard time. And then he was in the middle of changing jobs. He had gotten a job offer, and then the job offer was rescinded, and so we were 2.5 months without him having a job. So at that time, I didn't know exactly what we were gonna get, and at that time our daughter was heading to Iowa City for at that time my daughter was heading to Iowa City for she has infusions that she has to do for her illness, and it was one of those things that I didn't know how we were going to make it there because we had no gas. And then the next day we received the mail from Carly and Project 1512, and it was just perfect timing. And we were able to make the trip, and our rent was paid and our electricity bill was paid, and it was just amazing.